Hello and welcome to today's video. We are here for a different type of Overwatch League video. Normally we're doing power rankings, but this week, or today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to talk about player contracts. As you guys know, the season is coming to an end. Here's only a little bit of time left in the Overwatch League. There's just a couple matches left. And you might be able to see in the reflection back there, one of the games happening right now, actually. But there's not much time left, and they put out an article a couple hours ago, actually, at the time of recording this, about contracts in the Overwatch League and sort of how it works. So I didn't really know how it worked, but I found out a couple weeks ago that it was a 1-year contract with a 1-year option after. And you know how contracts work in other sports. It's sort of like out there. These other sports have been around for ever. Baseball, football, basketball, they've been around forever. So, contracts have sort of always been the same. But I just didn't know how they worked in Overwatch League, and I figured this being interesting to sort of break down the key dates for it here that it says. So first of all, every player in the Overwatch League is on a 1-year contract. It's $50,000 is the minimum. You also have to have places to train, places to sleep, sleep and live, whatever. You have to have benefits of like healthcare and retirement or something like that. So that's what all the players have in their contracts. And again, the minimum is $50,000. So that's sort of how it works, and it's a 1-year contract with a 1-year option. I don't know if it's a player option or a team option. The difference in a player or team option, if it's a player option, the player can say, yeah, I want to come back. Or if it's a team option, the team says, hey, we want you back for the final year of your contract. Or you become a free agent. A very popular, or a very known thing right now is, if you take basketball, for example, LeBron James is going to opt out of his player option to leave the Cavaliers, or he is probably going to. Something like that. So that's an example. In other sports, in basketball, LeBron James has his player option contract to become a free agent this year. Or you can say, hey, I'll take that player option and stay for another year. But that's how it works. So, it's so annoying. For some reason today, my watch has been giving notifications and my phone if it's unlocked, which it's not supposed to do. Either way, the first day here, August 1st, basically, all the teams can negotiate contracts. So the teams, if they have a current player that they want, they can say, hey, we want you, want to keep you. So they can negotiate the contract, get them to stay. And then it says you want to sign players from their affiliated contenders team. So I believe 7 or 6 teams have contenders teams that compete. So like the minor leagues of the Overwatch League. And that's very, very cool. I know New York has one, Florida, London, Philadelphia. Those teams I know have them. But yeah. So they can sign players from those teams. Basically they negotiate, it's a contract extension. So to players that are currently on the teams or on the contenders team, they can negotiate a contract and be like, hey, we want to keep you. Then September 9th, the contracts end. So if they don't pick up their option or they don't sign them for longer, then they are free agents. Then September 9th to October 7th, it says here that there will be an exclusive window for Overwatch League expansion teams to sign free agents. So I assume that there's going to be expansion teams if it says that. There were talks of adding more teams. So currently there's 12 teams. So whatever the number goes up to, those teams will have to sign new players. Unless they can bring rosters that are other ones that aren't in the thing, like maybe other contenders teams or something like that. But we'll see where they expand other teams. I think they want to get more European teams. That's what I've seen. Apparently they want to get more teams in Europe because Europe's kind of a big area to not have more teams. To only have one team from Europe. Apparently they don't want to get any more from Korea because I guess it's not that marketable. From what I've seen, I guess Seoul's probably your only super marketable city. In the terms of like international. Of course, within Korea you can market other cities, but That's the thing. I guess in Asia in general, maybe they don't want to get as many more teams. Apparently a thing. I don't know. They could add another team from China or something. But either way, probably a couple more European teams will be something they'll add in. You probably do something like France or something. You have a team from like Paris or somewhere in Germany maybe. Berlin, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, so that's the thing. So when there's expansion teams, they can sign free agents. October 8th, then there'll be free agent signing windows for all teams. So basically, after the 7th in October, whatever expansion teams, players aren't signed, all the current 12 teams can sign new players. So basically, October 8th is when free agency really starts in the Overwatch League for the 12 teams that are currently in it. And some of the teams will probably want to get some new players. And a lot of the teams here, they're going to like probably redo their roster. You probably see a lot of Shanghai. They'll probably get rid of most of their players, I could see. Except for maybe like Gaguri, she's been pretty good. You'll probably see Florida will redo a lot of their roster. I don't know about Dallas. They've been kind of good in Stage 4, but maybe they'll rework some of their roster. Maybe even Seoul. They definitely struggled a little bit. I think for Seoul, though, it's keeping a lot of the same roster, but like figuring out how to work it. That's the thing. If you get another tank as well. But definitely for Florida and Shanghai, those two teams are definitely going to want to rework most of their roster, except for like a couple of the good players that they have in there. And then it's sort of the opposite for a team like New York or London. They probably want to, again, I say London, this because they're a good team. They just need to work out some of their issues that they had in most of Stage 2 and 3 and part of Stage 4. But if they can work out some of that, they'll be fine. And again, some of the players that they cut earlier, they'll be signable in October or in September for expansion teams. But that's the thing. Some of the teams, definitely New York, I can see them just like keeping it all together, except for maybe adding in like, I think they do have one roster, but I think they'll have 11 players. So they might add in one of the people from their contenders team, like Flower, I believe that's the guy's name. Apparently he's pretty good. Apparently he was on the Korean team in the World Cup. Apparently, for contenders, Season 2 begins soon. The roster will have 8 players, and it looks like the Overwatch League teams can be like, hey, we want to try out these players, and then you can buy out the contracts from the contenders teams. And then the contenders academy teams, the academy teams are like the minor league of the Overwatch League, and those ones they can sign and bring up with a contract. Now the other thing here is there's going to be two-way players, which is very cool. Other something they have in basketball a lot between the NBA and the G League, because the G League, you know, a lot of the teams, I think every team has a G League team, but you keep the G League. It was better when it was called the D League, when it was Development League, but either way, all the G League players can just, you know, they'll stay there, but some of them can be on a two-way contract. I know the Warriors had that with Quinn Cook. He was on a two-way contract, and he was good throughout the season, so like, we're going to sign you for the rest of the year. But that's the thing, so you have a two-way contract, and I don't know if it's necessarily the same that the two-way players can only play a certain amount of games, but it says right here, I'm just going to read what it says. For 2019 Overwatch League season, teams and players may negotiate the right to designate the player as eligible to compete contenders on an affiliated team. Any player in the roster may agree to be eligible to contenders play at a maximum of 4 players, maybe designated two-way players, during each Overwatch League stage. So it's actually a two-way player for a stage. Those players must be identified and submitted to the league office prior to each stage. They have to follow the rules here to compete in contenders. They count toward an Overwatch League roster limit of 12. They get the same salary and benefits as Overwatch League roster players. But the two-way player also counts towards the contender team limit of 8 players. So, that week, they can only have 8. That's what counts towards them. Oh, they lose their eligibility to appear they lose their contenders eligibility if they appear in more than 2 Overwatch League matches on a stage. So they can come up on a 2-way contract, but they can only play 2 matches on a stage. So 2 of the 10 matches, I guess, they can play. That's very interesting. Then a maximum of 2 designated 2-way players can compete in any single Contenders match. And then no players eligible to appear in both Contenders and Overwatch League in the same week. So you're either a Contenders player for a week or an Overwatch League player. Very, very interesting way to bring it up. I think that is a good idea, especially if you have a player who, maybe you're working on developing them and you want to see if they can come up and be really good. You can get them tested, get them ready, or say you want to bring them in stage 4 or stage 2 or 3 or whatever, but you want to try them out, get them to play a game or 2 in the league. Stage 1, it's a good way just to try out the team, see what they got, or see the player and get them, to work with them. The other thing here says all teams must have a minimum of 8 players under contract by December 1st, 2018. That's a little bit different. I think it's only 6 now. Because I know Florida at the beginning of the season only had 6 players. They can sign and trade players to the final date during the 2019 season. I'm sure they'll be at the end of stage 2, like we've seen here this season. Maybe they'll change it, stage 3. I don't know. And then it says, So players who turn 18 prior to the season deadline are eligible to sign Overwatch League contracts for the 2019 season. The date is yet to be finalized. Players born before May 1st, 2001 will be eligible. So basically, if you're born before May 2001, you can sign a contract and you can be in. That's what you've seen here a lot with San Francisco. A lot of their team players that are really good were signed on contracts, but they couldn't play because they were 17. Also, like most sports, you have to be 18 to play. You have to be an adult. Adult? Yes. You have to be an adult. I said it really weird. You have to be an adult to play in sports leagues. I know NFL, basketball, baseball, all the ones like that. Why'd I say NFL and then basketball? NFL, NBA, MLB, all those ones, you have to be 18. I believe. You might be able to be 17 to be like in a match or 2. I don't know. Game or 2. Anyways, and then it says 2019, players will no longer be fixed to a 1-year deal with an additional 1-year option, like they currently are. Teams the players can negotiate contracts up to 3 years with a maximum of 1 year as an option additional to 1 or 2 guaranteed years. So basically, you can either say to a player, which in esports, apparently the time that, like, your career in esports is very short. Compared to other sports, the players may play for a long time. They can play for 20 years. I guess in esports is less time. Just because the games are always changing. Probably it's just a lot in your hands playing on the keyboard too. But yeah, so apparently they don't play for that long. But either way, you can sign players for up to 3 years. So you can be like, hey, we're going to do an outright contract of 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. You can also do 1 year, 1 year option, 2 years, 1 year option. So there's kind of a couple different contracts you can go with, which is very cool. I'll see them change it up a little bit. That's kind of crazy. If you sign a 3-year contract with a current player in the league, you're going to say they're going to be playing in 5 years. 4 years from now. Which is kind of interesting. Some of these players will be playing in 2022. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. I think this is very cool. I like making Overwatch League videos. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I will try to remember to link the article here in the description. I'm not going to promise it, but I will try. I will try to remember. And, yeah. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Also, comment down below which player you like on your favorite team that you hope that they re-sign in Season 2. Yay!